Good morning. 6 o'clock this morning and I'm taking out the whole wheat loaf. We're going to be putting this into my proofer. Here's my proofer. Put a little bit of water in the tray here. The bread in the proofer. Put the lid on, and I have it at 76 degrees this morning. So I have this proofer on my washing machine. It's 6 o'clock. I've taken this one out. In half an hour I'll take the next loaf out. So I've got the whole wheat loaf going right now. Pretty excited for today. We're going to find out about our sourdough starters, how they're going to work. This is day 14. So it's been 30 minutes and here we have our white loaf. I'm going to put that into our proofer with the whole wheat loaf. It's been an hour and a half. I'm taking out my third loaf now, but I wanted to show you these two loaves. Very often it takes 2 or 3 hours on average after you take out your bread in the morning and begin to proof. It will take 2 or 3 hours for it to get near time to bake, and I wanted to show you that it's been an hour and a half and it's pretty far away from baking. The volume's not there in the banneton. And the poke test it's not staying in at all. It's just coming right out. That's the whole wheat one. That was the first one. And here's I don't know if it's the hybrid or the white yet. I'll have to check. Here's the other one. And it's a real slack dough, so I don't even trust that poke there. It's not really filling up the banneton. So I'm not going to turn on my oven yet. Usually by this time I'm wondering, is it time to turn my oven on? I'll wait another good half an hour to an hour before worrying about that. Okay, my third loaf is ready to take out of the refrigerator and proof, but I don't have enough room in my proofer. I'll use both hands here. I don't have enough room in my proofer for 3 loaves. Unfortunately, Broad and Taylor, you need to make a bigger proofer. And so what I do is I take a cup of water in a mug and heat it to where it's nice and hot, and then it makes the whole microwave really nice and warm. And I'll put my loaf right in there. It's a beautiful little proofer, and it stays warm for quite a while. I will check on it later, and if it doesn't seem very warm, I'll just take out the bread and reheat the water again. It's been 2 hours since we took the first loaf out. It's going slow. They're not proofing very quickly, and that's to be expected. These are brand new starters. They may not have the power that an older, more mature starter does. I still think they're going to bake up great today, but we may end up needing several hours. Instead of just 2 or 3, we may need 4 or 5. We'll see, but I'm not going to turn the oven on yet. I'll check in another half an hour and see how it's going. It's been 2.5 hours now. I'm seeing a little progress here. Looks like the indent's staying in more. This is the white loaf. It's the stickier loaf. I'm going to go ahead and turn the oven on. These still are not quite filling up the bannetons as I'm used to. There's quite a bit more room. And the whole wheat one may take longer than the hybrid or the white one. I think they will have an easier time lifting themselves up. And there's really not that much whole wheat in there either. Remember, we just used the whole wheat starter. So I turned the proofer up to 80 And I will turn my oven on because I think in an hour they might be ready to bake. And if they're not, we'll just let them go a little bit further. This is my third loaf. I turned the proofer up to 80 and I noticed this had cooled down a bit. So I reheated the water and I'm placing this back in. This is the hybrid loaf. And it's actually doing pretty good. The indent is filling out, but slowly, and it's filling up the banneton fairly well, which is another reason I'm going to get the oven turned on now. It's been 2.5 hours since we took out the first loaf this morning. It's been an hour since I started heating the oven, so I'm putting in the roasting lid so that it can be ready when I pop the first loaf of bread in. It's been about 3.5 hours now since we took the first loaf out. I have the oven on heating. It's been heating about an hour. We'll probably try baking these pretty quick here. I don't know if you can see it with the shadow on there, but it's holding an indent. It's filling up the banneton quite a bit more than it did. It's still not as high as I would like it. And it's filling in slowly. Now, I know the lighting's not very good here. This is the white loaf that I took out, the second one. So you can see the indent staying in and it's filling in slowly. And this is filling the banneton up quite a bit more than the first whole wheat loaf. I might decide to put this one in first, even though I took the other one out first. I will evaluate that when I come back to bake after the roasting lid is done preheating. It's been a full 4 hours now since we took the first loaf out. And even though the white loaf looks like it's more proofed than the whole wheat loaf, I'm going to put the whole wheat loaf in first because it's not unusual for a loaf with whole wheat to be lower in volume than a white. The bran and the extra grain matter that's in the dough will somewhat inhibit its expansion because the bran particles can cut the gluten strands, and also the extra bran and grain matter just makes it a little harder for the dough to jump up, to rise itself up. I decided to show you why I changed my mind. The white loaf is actually, if I wait another half an hour, it'll be too late for it. I poke my finger in, it stays in. The whole wheat does have a little bit longer to go. I poke my finger in. Oops, sticky. It's still coming out. It still has a little bit more volume it can attain. So I'm going to change my mind on that and put the white loaf in now. I just feel it'll be overproofed if I wait any longer. I can't poke it because it's too sticky.